they so obsessed? I just don't get it. Like, I've seen a lot of things, and like, let's just roll this back. It was Super Bowl Sunday this last weekend. Not like I really watched the Super Bowl because the Patriots weren't in it, and I just really don't care about football either. But I did watch for Beyonce's and Bruno Mars's performance during Coldplay's Super Bowl performance. Mainly because Beyonce had debuted debuted a new song and video named Formation. Now, first off, video, oh yes, Jesus, yes, oh yes, praise, praise, praise. I was so freaking excited and proud of Beyonce for finally not even finally, just being unapologetically black. Just, she came out, this was the blackest, like, video or thing that I have ever seen Beyonce do, and especially for this video just starting off. I mean, it was in New Orleans with the images. I mean, there was so many just yummy images. Which some of my favorites, which if you follow my blog, you see it, figureoutyourlifeblog.com. Some of my favorite images was, the number one being the little boy in the black hoodie just breaking it down and dancing in front of a line of police in riot gear. And at the end, they put their hands up and they surrender, and he just stands there, and they pan over to the side of a wall, and graffitied on it says, "Stop shooting us." I loved it, but apparently some white folks didn't like it, and there was, and I'm saying white folks, let's just be true, I don't think there was any black folks talking about boycott Beyonce because she put out a video that actually talked about blackness as a black woman. But there was this stupid boycott that was going around saying that they wanted to boycott Beyonce during the Super Bowl performance because she was putting out anti-police messages, which I didn't see that at all. I mean, if they're talking about lyrical content, no, wasn't there. If they're talking about the video, I didn't see anything in there that said fuck the popo, kill police, or none of that stuff. None of that was mentioned. The only images that you really saw related to the police is the cop car that she was on top of in the floodwaters. And the police line with the little black boy dancing in front of them. I didn't see how that said anything. It's not like at the end of the video that the little black boy shot the police and they died, and he said, yay, police are dead. Like, that is not what it said. It said, stop shooting us. Which is what not all police officers, but if you pay attention to the news, there seems to be a trend. And it's not something that just happened out of nowhere. It's just that the media coverage of it has become, especially with the advent of social media, has been more present. People are a little bit more aware of these things that are happening within black and brown communities, and the fact that there are so many of these police these police involved in situations with unarmed black males, boys and men, and them dying in police custody or in interactions with police, and you find out that they didn't have any weapons. But when you see someone like the kid who went and shot up the church in South Carolina, that was a black church, that he got to walk out with a bulletproof vest, and they were making sure that he didn't get harmed. But yet, if we don't have, if a black male try to do the same thing or just try to cross the street or blow his nose, and they think he's a suspect, that they'll shoot automatically. If you saw what happened with the Laquan McDonald video of him getting shot by the police officer when he was just walking down the street, even if he was a suspect for something, the police officer, if you watch it, it was murder on screen, and they try to cover it up. He came out and just shot the kid and kept shooting, and would have kept shooting if they didn't stop him. And it was you know, there was absolutely no threat there, but yet you could still have things like the Oregon, not the Oregon, but the abortion clinic, the Planned Parenthood shooting, where the guy pretty much shot a police officer and like 4 or 5 other people, and he still got to live. Like in the Oregon militia, who I will not even, I'm putting quotations because they were straight up domestic terrorists. If you go onto federal land and make a declaration to shoot, if necessary, anyone that tries to remove you from that property, and they just let those white men just sit there and they talk to them, and, you know, they let them sit there with guns and threats to American people and police officers if they come up on there, if they intervened or shot at them. That is a threat. That's a domestic threat. But yet no one wanted to say that, and they allowed them to stay there for quite some time before they finally decided that, you know, this is our job is to, you know, uphold the law, and they're breaking the law by being on federal land illegally and being there with guns and occupying it. So it ended up with most of them getting arrested and one person being killed. But again, these people were armed. And so I don't see where anywhere in her video or just anywhere when people talking about just Black Lives Matter and police officers being trained to be sensitive and not to shoot first and ask questions later when they see black males. I don't see how that says anything against the system. You can criticize the system without hating it. I don't see how. I mean, like, when I'm a teacher, when I you know, edit or make comments on my students' papers, it doesn't mean I hate them. It means I'm trying to make them better. When you criticize or talk about an issue happening within the police force, it is making a comment that something needs to change. And somehow, and I'm saying it again, some white folks, I don't know what the white tears are about. Why are you crying about something? Oh, my husband's a police officer. That's great for him, as long as he's not shooting unarmed black males and killing young black females and brown people for no other reason, for the fact that they just think they're a threat because it's something in their mind that they have some preconceived notion about it, then we cool. But if your husband is one of those that just, you know, didn't listen to Eric Garner when he said he couldn't breathe, and you saw Mike Brown, and he's one of the ones that saw Mike Brown and decided that they wanted to shoot him dead and leave his body there on the street when he had absolutely no weapons on him, and I can just keep going. If your husband is the sheriff that pulled over Sandra Bland and for not signaling, and then she ended up dead in a jail cell in the middle of nowhere, then your husband or boyfriend or brother is the problem. And that's why we have to talk about it. But it does not mean that anyone's trying to say anything against the police or being anti-police. Like, if something happens to me, I'm still calling 911. But if I'm running on the street, minding my business, and a police officer decides to pull me over, hells yeah, I'm going to be freaking on defense because of the situations that have happened around the country. So I just don't understand why they're so concerned. I don't understand why we're not allowed to love ourselves, love our culture. I mean, people talking about, oh, they have Black History Month, but why don't they have a White History Month? There is White History Month. It says it is 11 months out of the year. It's 12 months out of the year. You can study white history during Black History Month because all you have to do is enroll in a history class in any university or school, open up the book, and you will see all kinds of things about white history. So there you go. You want a White History Month? Take a White History Year. How about that? How about you go and do that? Open up a book before you open up your mouth and say something absolutely ignorant and stupid. Sorry, I had to get that off my chest. So I just don't understand why they're so obsessed. It's not like when I watch TV, which I have cable. I have, like, you know, the cable of all cables with all the channels. It's not like when I see, when I turn on my TV and all I see is, you know, white people on television, white relationships, white love, white families, white marriages, white culture, white music, that I cancel my cable subscription and throw my TV out because I'm so sick and tired and offended by white people, you know, living their lives and, you know, loving themselves and celebrating their families and themselves and their images. No, I don't do that. But for some reason, I don't know what it is. It's some kind of innate kind of hate. And I'm not saying all white folks. I'm saying the white folks that want to get upset and talk about and be upset about something as simple as Beyonce having a video that celebrates her own culture, that talks about loving your Jackson, your Negro nose with your Jackson 5 freaking nostrils, and loving natural hair, and stop shooting, stop having me having to worry about where my son is because you might shoot him because he has a toy gun or a bottle of a bag of Skittles in his hands. Like all of these things does not mean like that there is some kind of problem or need or people asking for segregation. I just absolutely love that she came out during the Super Bowl, which white people, the ones that wanted to boycott, I'm sure they still watched. But it was, uncomfortable for people to see what her dancers dressed as Black Panthers and having afros and, what. I don't see what's so uncomfortable about that. I wasn't uncomfortable watching Coldplay. Why are you uncomfortable seeing Blackness on screen? And that's definitely something that needs to change because we're here. Because I'm so tired. And let me show you my shirt right here. This shirt right here, yes, that is a Black woman and a white police officer and a dog being sent on her. And it says, "Why I vote." This is not saying I hate white people or white police officers. It's saying that I know that there were people that came before me that had to stand there and have hoses and dogs set on them because they were saying that as Americans we have the right to vote, and because of them, I am able to vote for whoever I want to, whenever I want to, as an American citizen, and I don't have to worry about a police officer sending some kind of German Shepherd on me because they feel that I don't have the right to things that other Americans have, that there were people that fought and died for me to have the rights that I have, and that says nothing against, the faces in this. It says nothing against what I feel about white men, white people, white culture, white history, and police officers. It just says that I recognize my history and I recognize the history of this country, and I speak up so that this does not happen again, and I vote because I appreciate and respect what this woman and other women and men did for me before I was even born or thought of, so that I can have the privileges that I have now, including talking to you on this, talking to you on YouTube. So anyway, let me know what you guys think. I just had to let that off my chest. I was just so mad. And there's something else. I probably will have a part 2 on this. So check it out. I feel like I have a part 2 with me. A part 2 is coming because there's something else that happened this morning that I got to get off my chest. So tune in and stay tuned for, I probably will post it the next day, my thoughts on something else that is just ridiculous.